And in just 1 week, the key players in the David Petraeus scandal have become famous. So they've hired, as Dave mentioned, some well-known lawyers and other representatives to do damage control. Top Washington attorney Bob Barnett is now working for the former CIA director. Petraeus' biographer and mistress, Paula Broadwell, has now hired the PR firm where former White House press secretary Dee Dee Myers works. And Jill Kelly, who made the complaint that uncovered the whole affair, has teamed up with Washington attorney Abby Lowell and Monica Lewinsky's former crisis manager Judy Smith. And not to leave anybody out, Kelly's twin sister, Natalie Kawam, has now been represented and retained the attorney Gloria Allred. That's a lot. Chip Reid is here with a look at Petraeus' next step. Chip, good morning. A lot of people are asking, what does someone like General Petraeus do now?
Well, that's a really good question. You know, he was not long ago one of the most admired men in America, and the question now is whether he can regain that elevated status, and if so, how?
Good to see you anyway.
By any measure, David Petraeus' record of accomplishment is extraordinary. A four-star general, he led the surges in Iraq and Afghanistan. He was director of the CIA, and while he denied any interest in politics, some top strategists had him on their short list for president.
This personal failing will be a blip on the historical record.
Peter Mansour was a top Petraeus aide in Iraq.
Gee, if we made adultery a disqualification for public office, I think about half of Washington would be out of a job. So I think that this, you could very well see David Petraeus back in Washington in a public position at some point.
But getting there will take time and a plan, according to crisis communications expert Richard Levick, who's helped a who's who of companies and individuals through tough times.
What does General Petraeus need to do right now?
General Petraeus needs to do two things. First, disappear. It's the holiday season. It's a good time to disappear. Now he can spend time with his wife trying to mend that relationship.
Levick says that strategy worked for Bill Clinton after the Monica Lewinsky scandal and for former New York Governor Eliot Spitzer after he was caught with a prostitute.
He had to set his own personal life in order first. And just like Bill Clinton, if the spouse forgives you, then who are we to judge?
Levick has the same advice for Petraeus' alleged former mistress, Paula Broadwell. Disappear. Avoid those photo ops that keep the story in the news. But becoming invisible might not be easy for someone as ambitious as Broadwell.
My long-term goal had always been to become National Security Advisor.
According to Time magazine, she was even tempted, with no political experience, to run for the U.S. Senate in North Carolina. So if disappearing is step one, what is step two?
Step two is the resurrection. We're in the holiday season. It is the resurrection.
Beginning early next year, Levick says Petraeus should give an interview to a top policy-oriented print journalist, avoid TV interviews where there are sure to be questions about Broadwell, and do a speaking tour in Europe where they'll care more about policy than adultery. Then come back home and start rebuilding his career.
And the story gets even stranger, Nora. The New York Daily News is reporting that the emails that Broadwell sent to socialite Jill Kelly, the emails that really got this whole story going, were so menacing that they were described as the rantings of someone who was clearly unhinged. And they say that Kelly actually feared for her life. A source close to Paula Broadwell tells CBS News that that characterization is inconsistent with everything we know about Paula Broadwell, but this is obviously a story that is going to develop as the day goes on.
Exactly. Chip Reid, thank you very much.